Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm your yarn host Jennifer. Now I'm going to be real frank and honest with you. This is a Monday Makes video, but I'm 2 weeks past the last Monday Makes video that I made. And I don't remember what I've shown you and what I haven't showed you. And I'm just going to show you things. If you already saw them, pretend that they're brand new and be, oh wow, okay? I know that you guys saw this tank top because I wore it in a video, but I did finish this tank top. It's cute. A little bit too hot to wear 100% acrylic, so that's over there. It's just going to sit over there. Now, I need to film that still. I am batch filming a bunch of videos today so that I can slowly edit them so that I'm working maybe an hour or two a day instead of like 8 hours a day. So I'm taking a little bit each day and just I'm taking it slow. If you guys saw last week's video where I cried about a bunch, I actually feel a huge relief that I got that off my chest because I was holding that in for a while. And I feel better that I told you, and I panicked and I almost deleted the video before it aired because shame, embarrassment, what are people gonna think, the possible repercussions. I panicked and almost deleted it all for all those reasons. This needs to stay with that. I have also really struggled to crochet. Where is my hat? I knit a hat. That's what I need to show you. I don't know what I did with it. That's what I need to find it. I need to find it. I thought I put it on my desk. It is the cutest hat. I have started and stopped a bunch of projects. Could possibly still be in my purse. I took this to the drive-in. It's still in my purse. My really weird, we're calling it a fanny pack, but it's not. It's a crossbody pack. Okay, where have these been my whole life? Okay, I've always hated the idea of a fanny pack. If you don't know what a fanny pack is, because over in the UK, fanny does not mean your butt like it does for us. Is actually the reverse parts, okay? So, which I actually learned that from Sam at Mamfa Makes. It can be worn as a fanny pack, but it's also a crossbody bag. I got this when we were in Florida, okay? It sits like that. And I love it because everything's right here. It can also be worn as a fanny pack, so it can be worn around my waist. I've been carrying this thing. I got beautiful purses. I don't carry them. Like, I hate something over my shoulder. And so with this, like, I'm hands-free and I have a bag. It's like having a pocket on your chest. It's fantastic. And it was like $5. So, and it's full leather. Right now. Sorry, that was actually Juju, not Mr. Cinnamon for once. She is on her way home from her very first ever date. Yeah, she's 19. She's never been on a date. She's a good girl. She wants to tell her mama all about it. And apparently this boy has a mom who is a knitter, and she's going to kill me for telling this. And his mom had to drive him out this way because they don't live anywhere near here. They live out towards the boonies, and she went shopping at Michael's while he was on a date with my daughter. It's so cute. And first of all, he bought me something on his date. Never met the kid, never seen him, never talked to him. And he said, I wanted to bring yarn for your mom because he knows what I do for a living. And he's all, but I didn't know what kind of yarn to get. And I'm like, is this boy going to be my son-in-law? Because I love him. Calm down, ladies. It's been one date. It's been one date. so far from what I've heard and what she has told me, he seems like an upstanding kid. And he's kind of dorky and he's kind of adorable. And I mean, let's just all pray he has good intentions, because we know what could happen, right? So she's got a lot to tell me, so I'm going to try to finish this video. She's going to come home in the middle of it. I know she will, because I know that these tend to be long videos, but I'm really excited that she's excited. And there's so much more to the story I wish I could tell you, but I'm going to shut up now. All right, so we went to the drive-in movie theater last weekend, and I posted a picture on Instagram, and then I went radio silent for like 4 or 5 days. I knit a beret, and my hair is going to be a hot mess behind this because it's been pushed back. It's been pushed back for date. It's supposed to go like this. Okay. We're going to pretend it looks beautiful. It's hot outside. We're going to pretend that my hair is gorgeous and perfect, okay? But I wanted to knit a rainbow beret because I pulled this yarn out a couple weeks ago and I showed it to you and I was like, I need to make something with that yarn. And so I was like, it needs to be a rainbow beret. I've never knit a beret. I was not working off of a pattern. I had no idea what I was doing. But it is... it's kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. So I am aware of some things I could have done differently. I tried knitting it top down, and I'm not real good at, and I also didn't have DPNs on me. I'm not real good at working in that tight of a space to start off a project, because some things I knit really well at, and some things I'm like, I really struggle with just because of the way I knit, because I knit Russian style or a mix of continental, European, Russian. Like, I knit weird, okay? I don't knit weird. I knit different than most people I've ever seen knit. I've seen one person on the internet ever knit the way that I do, and she taught me about Russian knitting well after I already was doing Russian knitting for years. So I mean, I knit this brim up, and I probably could have made the brim a little bit smaller, but like I said, I was not working off a pattern. And I think, considering I was not working off a pattern, and I generally need at least directions when I'm knitting, I think this turned out really cute, and I think it's so much fun in the colors, and it's giving me like Sesame Street in the 70s, early 80s vibes, you know, like peace, love, and hippiness. Like, I'm digging it, right? We're just gonna leave that on. I do have half of the yarn left. I could essentially make another one, but I think right now that's gonna go in the scrap bin. That does not exist over there. I just put it in a bucket. But I completed, this is the one thing I have completed since the tank top in quite a while. My Juju is sending me pictures of her and her little friend. He kind of looks like her, which I think is, I think my daughter is gorgeous. That's really cute. She looks so happy. I'm not going to show because privacy. She would probably be mad if I even told you that she went on her first date, but I have had so many of the talks with her about every subject that possibly could come up in regards to dating and what could happen and dangers and how to protect yourself. And my kid is really smart, and she's really aware of she's not naive at all. I mean, she probably is in some aspects because she doesn't have experience in those things, dating, for example, but she's smart. She's been talking to this boy since April and is just now meeting him. So she's really careful, and I have no worries that she kind of, I really need to stop talking about this, but she went through this last year with a different kid, and there were a couple of red flags that she ignored with the kid where she was talking to him, and he took one step too far in the way he was talking to her, and she immediately cut off all contact and let me know that she ignored a few red flags, and now she has learned her lesson. And she straight up told this new boy, like, hey, that ain't gonna happen. This is not these are my boundaries, and we're gonna stay within them. And he was like, totally. I was like, I like this kid. Now I just have to meet him and get a feel for whether or not, and it's funny because he was like, I'm kind of scared to meet your dad, like, because, you know, kids are always scared of the dads. And Juju goes, you don't have to be scared of my dad. You need to be scared of my mom. And I was like, well, you're not wrong. He absolutely needs to be scared of me over your dad, because I'm the crazy one. Like, don't play with my kid. Mama bear will come out and it will get ugly fast. Don't play with my kid. But this is the one thing I knit. I started this today. This is the most crochet that I have done in a while. It's been a couple weeks since I finished that tank top. This is the most crochet. I actually was sitting in bed last night, and I'm recording this last week. And I'm recording this the day that the crybaby video came out, where I don't want to call it crybaby video. The one where I opened up about my mental health and my struggles and my health issues, and where I told you why I had been absent. I'm recording this the day after, and I feel a lot of relief today just getting that off of my chest. So that's why I'm recording so many videos today. And I was thinking last night after I recorded the video and I had already set it to upload, I was laying in bed and I was like, all the things were going through my mind. Like, you need to delete it. Maybe you said too much. You shouldn't have shared that. You should have, like, you know, all the anxiety thoughts in my head. Why did you do that? Delete it, delete it, delete it. They're going to hate you. They're going to judge you. All that was going through my head. How are you going to pick up a crochet hook? You need to pick up a crochet hook. Like, you can't let this keep going, because with some of my ADHD tendencies, if I walk away from something, it is very easy to displace it forever. So if I walk away from something, I might not pick the crochet hook back up ever. That's just the way I work. I set the camera down a couple years ago, and I have not actively pursued anything photography related since I put the camera down. And I don't want that to happen with crochet. Juju's home. Bentley is very excited. He's like, he says every time she comes home, where were you? Where were you? So he goes, woo, 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 woo. And I'm like, where were you? He does it to me too. Where were you? That's what sounds like he's saying, is where were you? Where were you? He's very excited. And Scarlett's going to be upset if she has another smell anywhere near her. So I was laying in bed. I was like, how can I make myself want to crochet? And I was like, in the past, what have I done to break this bad cycle of I had lost my crojo? What have I done to fix it? I've made washcloths. I've made amigurumis. I've made small things that have a very easy finish. And because I have started and stopped projects so many times the past 2 weeks, I really needed something that I could start and stop and not feel guilty about, because it's sitting in a project bag over there like some of those projects. Can you go back in the other room with Juju and close my door? Thank you. Granny squares. And I'm like, granny squares. I can do a granny square. And I can have a goal to just complete one granny square. I'm not going to put pressure on myself to pick a size granny square. If it's 3 rows, it's 3 rows. If it's 5 rows, it's 5 rows. If it's a granny square blanket that I finish, it's a granny square blanket that I finish. And so I sat down, mostly with my bag of Dollar Tree yarn. I got the speckles and the neon. And my plan was to just sit. I'm really, really hot. And just make a granny square until I felt that it was a big enough size to stop and cut it. So I made this granny square right here. I just made that one. And then I was like, I've never done join as you go method, because the thing I hate about granny squares is applying them together. And I was like, if I make if I make a second granny square, I'm getting hot. I tried to wear that. I can't. Where's my headband? If I make a second granny square, I can see if I can figure out how to do join as you go, because I've never done join as you go. So I made a second granny square out of the purple. And I joined it as I went along. And then I made a couple more. And I'm using up the speckle yarns with the purple and the pink. I purchased these all together from the Dollar Tree. And then I was like, okay, I have an even amount of colors. I have 4 colors. I have these 4 right here. And I was like, I kind of need an odd man out color, because I don't want pink on pink. Like, I don't want a pink here and a pink here, or a pink here and a pink here, or a pink here and a pink there. I don't want the colors touching, so I need an odd man out. Because by math, there's going to be a point where they're trying to touch. So I needed an odd man out color. So I found scrap yarn that I got from the thrift store. I paid 99 cents for this a long time ago. It has been around a long time. These yarns are a mix of 4 weights and 3 weights. And they're all about the same thickness, so it's working out just fine. And I have 2 odd man out colors, because the way it was working, I was going to have a double color, or I'm also trying not to do color on color. I want like color, speckle, whatever. But then I'm sitting there and I look over at little man who's sitting next to me, and I was like, you ever just overthink things? And he's all, what? He's 9. He has no clue what I'm talking about. Actually, he's almost 10. I gotta stop saying he's 9. I was like, I'm overthinking everything. Like, I'm thinking too hard about what colors need to go next to each other, and I'm gonna destroy the project for myself is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna overthink it. And so I was like, screw it. We're just gonna put some squares on. If it looks good, it looks good. If it don't, it don't. These are fun, cute little colors. I'm gonna make it until. This is not a plan. It might be a placemat tomorrow. It might be a table runner tomorrow. It might be a blanket in a couple of weeks. I'm not putting any pressure behind this. I'm making a square at a time when I can and connecting as I go. That way there's not a pile of need to do's. And if I never finish this and turn it into a blanket, I don't care. I need a project with 0 pressure behind it. That's what I've crocheted. Now, as you know, I have ridiculously enjoyed spinning yarn. It is something that has 0 pressure to it, because I never intend on making it a part of the channel. I never intend on making it a major part of the channel. I am always going to show my journey along with it, because a lot of people have found inspiration or are interested in the spinning thing and what comes of it. I may in the future sell some of it if I have an excessive amount and I'm not using it, because I have spun a lot of yarn. I have 5 skeins of just straight acrylic yarn. I don't know how many skeins I have spun of wool blends. I have spun bamboo, which I don't really like spinning. I have spun a lot. I'm really playing with fibers, okay? I showed you guys this because I was working with this new spindle for the first time. I've not taken it off the spindle. I've shown this to you a couple times now. It's blue, it's sparkly. It kind of looked along the lines of this before I spun it without like the brighter colors. It was just blues and greens, so it was kind of like this section here. I am going to spin all of these. Actually, I think I'm going to put these on the spinning wheel and see what happens. I've noticed on the spinning wheel, my spins are much less even. So when I spin on the spindle, it's all fingering weight. for the most part. I mean, I get a few spots here and there where I'm either connecting or it breaks or something. I'm having trouble and it's a little thicker, but on the spindle, it's all very even. When I'm spinning on the machine, it's very thick thin. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. So I'm not sure. I might still spin this on the spindle, but these are together because I have something in mind for that, because they're all shades of blue. Well, I pulled out, I forget what this is called. It's not a warping board. I don't know why my brain is telling me that. A carder. This is to card, okay? What you do, I have a video on this as well. You take fluff. This is roving. I call it fluff. And you put it on here. And the purpose of putting it on here is A, you line up the fibers so they're all facing the same direction. But also you can make something called a roll lag. And I have found that spinning from here is easier on a spindle, but spinning from a roll lag on my spinning wheel, which is right here in Shea Butte, is way easier. Like, roll legs work better for the way I spin while I'm still learning this, because there's a lot of nuances that are way different between the two arts of spinning with a spindle and spinning with this thing. So I'm learning. And I also have realized that I can make self-striping yarns by using the carder. So this is, I created this yarn and then I put it in my knitting machine, and this is the difference between purposefully trying to stripe it out and not striping it at all. This is the same wool, the same yarn. It was a difference in the way that I put it on the carder, okay? So I can create a self-striping yarn with techniques that I'm learning because I'm trying really hard to just be, I want to learn as much as I can. I don't want to be just an amateur. I want to like really like learn it. And I did the same thing with crochet. Like, I fell headfirst into learning as much as I could about as much information as I could. And now I'm doing the same thing. That's empty. I'm doing the same thing with the spinning techniques. Now, I use that, and this is mostly nylon wool that was sent to me in Happy Mail. I separated out warm and cool colors, and I have no problem mixing warm and cool colors, but my idea was I wanted to do fall colored yarns. Now, if you know me, I'm not a warm color person. I steer more towards, I mean, I do like warm colors, but I don't do fall colors at all. I don't do browns. I don't like jewel tones very often, like once in a while, but I am very much neon pastel. I am spring colors, summer colors. I'm not fall winter colors. I just don't, it doesn't make me happy. So I separated out the darker, more fall colors. And I started pulling from the bag. A lot of these are nylon. This is the wrong color. This is the oak. This is what I had left from this. And this. We'll show you all that. But there's also, this is merino blend. This is sari. This is silk left over from saris, for making saris in India. So this is just silk, and this falls apart really easily. So what it does, it gives you like a tweed effect to the yarn, which I will show you in a minute. And so I took a lot of these little baggies and I made Rolex, which you will see here. And I tried to make them so that they're uniform, so that when I spin them, they will have the same striping pattern, okay? So I used a pumpkin orange There's actually 2 shades of yellow in here, and then I used brown and this red color. And these remind me of snakes, and I'm not mad at that because I actually really like snakes. So what you do is you can spin from the fold here, but you can also just grab from here and spin, and it will self-stripe itself. I created, I don't even know how much any of these weigh. I'm going to say about, I can't even guess. I'm going to say each one of these hanks are going to end up being between 50 and 100 grams of wool. So an average size hank of yarn. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's 7 or 8 roll legs in here, equaling about 50 to 100 grams. I haven't measured it. They're beautiful. The striping is very similar on all of them, so the striping should be very similar when I spin the yarn. This is the last one of the roll legs that I created because I spun the other 2 sets of roll legs. Now, these are going to be far more beautiful when I hank them up, and I will absolutely show them to you again when I hank them up. This one is very like Field of Sunflowers, which I love, love, love sunflowers. But this has one of the merino, this is mostly nylon yarn with a mix of, the light green is a merino blend. So this is merino and nylon, and the nylon is not my favorite to spin. It was kind of grippy on itself, so I had to use a lot of extra muscles to draft it because it was just like, it was trying to pull, there was resistance when you tried to draft the fibers apart. But the nylon or the merino blend was the light green, and it had lots of light color specks in there. So there are little pops of Tweety bits in there, and you will see see the orange and the red and a little bit of purple over here. And I can't wait to show you this because this is just going to be absolutely a magnificent yarn worked up. And I'm so proud of it. For the most part, it is even, but there are lots of thick, thin parts. Just because I'm new on the spinning wheel. So, like I said, this is probably closer to 50 grams. And the Tweety bits are just random in there. I think it's going to be beautiful worked up. But this reminds me of a Field of Sunflowers. I love sunflowers. Sunflowers are one of my favorite flowers. I have actually done several photo sessions when I was a photographer in fields of sunflowers. I'm an August baby. My birthday's coming up. I've always loved everything that represents summer, and sunflowers represent summer to me. They represent the end of summer going into fall, and I love Halloween, so like they kind of blend into that season. There is nothing more happy or cheerful than daisies and sunflowers, and this colorway, even though I would not think to make something in these colors, I think this is going to make a stunning whatever I make out of it, because the colors are just beautiful. And this will self-stripe like this did because I turned it into roll legs first. So you will see there's parts that are green, there's parts that are just yellow. And because this overlaps on itself like a bobbin does, you're not going to see this until I cake it up a little bit better. And this one looks like it's mostly brown, but it's not. It's just the last bit was brown, and so the last bit is on top of, and it's the way it layered. There is a lot of red in here, and there's a lot of cream in here. I mixed cream, this red, and this brown together, and again, this is going to be a self-striping yarn. But what I did differently here is I took some of that sari silk and I interlaced it in there. So I did the stripes, and then I put some sari silk, and then I put some more wool on top of it. So the silky bits run throughout all of the yarn. Do you see all those little pops of color? And like I said, there is a lot of red and cream under here, but the brown just seemed to end up all on one end of the bobbin. But there is, underneath this brown, there is a lot of the red and the white. And it's Tweety all the way through. And I wish you could see the red because the red is really, really pretty. Let's see if I can pull back. See, there's red in there. There's definitely There's lots of red in there. See, and then the white is under there. And then I know that there's red in there. Some more red. So this again is going to be a self-striping yarn. This reminded me when I was spinning it. It kept reminding me of Valentine's Day. And I'm like, why does that remind you of Valentine's Day? It's got a lot of brown in it. And then it occurred to me, chocolate covered strawberries. Again, another one of my favorites. Chocolate covered strawberries. Chocolate and white chocolate covered strawberries. That's what it reminded me of. And the little confetti bits is like all of the little goodies, the gifts that Mr. Cinnamon has given me for Valentine's Day over the years. The wrapping paper that goes with it, or he really likes putting ribbons and bows on stuff and making it pretty because he gets that from Grandma. And this reminds me of Valentine's Day. And it's beautiful. And I intended it to be a fall color. But, I mean, it's kind of winter because of... I spun those. Did I spin anything else? No, because I have an empty bobbin in there. What are you doing?
I'm looking.
Don't touch that clock, okay? I have a clock on my wall in there. You guys have probably seen it. My grandfather made it for my mother years and years ago. He's looking at all the detail in it because it's made from wood and there's little figures and stuff in there. And I absolutely cannot replace that clock. Was there something else I was going to show you? I think that's it for the makes. Crochet, spinning, knit. Yeah. That's what I've been working on. I noticed the other day I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to do something. Get up and do something. But when you're suffering from mental problems, like sometimes you just can't. And the physical on top of the mental, like when you have like really bad pain and then your brain is like, oh my God, I just don't want to be awake. I don't want to get up. I don't want to move a single part of my body. It literally was like a lump in the chair. And I'm like, my brain is still just buzzing. Going. You got to get up and do something. You need to do that. You need to, the pressure of the channel. You need to do this with little man. He's been working on his workbooks when we're bored, which, I mean, I bought the workbooks to coincide with his curriculum. It's not his actual curriculum, but he's really smart. And he's going to be doing a lot of independent study because he likes it that way, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I did better in school with independent study, so I'm kind of excited. I am waiting till all the school stuff clearance is out, and then I'm going to go stock up and supply our school with school supplies, which is why another reason we're starting later in the year. Like we're starting in September instead of August, but I'm excited about all of that. And I've been using extra opportunities to teach him things that I'm like, hey, that counts as a school thing in my head, you know. Hey, check, I just taught him something, I'm proud of myself. But I was in a really bad tornado. I call it my brain tornadoes. It will just, ideas, thoughts just go and go and go, and it is hard to manage sometimes. And I've always called it tornadoing. And it does it in the middle of the night sometimes, and I will have these amazing ideas, these brilliant ideas in the middle of the night because my brain is tornadoing. And by the morning they're gone because I didn't write them down. I forgot. But I was tornadoing, but not in a good way. It was not positive. It was just, you need to do something. You need to do something. Get up. You're failing at your channel. And I'm not saying this for sympathy or positive reinforcement. This is what I was experiencing, and I was like, making roll eggs has zero pressure behind it, and it's getting out some sort of artistic payoff in my brain. I don't have to do anything other than make roll eggs. So I made this set. This set looked very much like this, as did this set. So I sat for a couple hours and just made roll eggs. I didn't have to think. All I had to do was put wool on a rack and brush it like it's my little puppy. By the way, Bentley loves being brushed. He loves being brushed. I'm just gonna say that. I sometimes take my hairbrush and brush him because he sheds like mad, but his hair, like, it's not real long hair. I mean, it's not short either. He is not like the other two dogs. He has way longer hair, but he has like a beautiful coat. He really does. He likes the feeling of the brush. So I think I need to buy him a dog brush because this is not touching him because it will be gross. But I don't mind sharing my hairbrush because I don't brush my hair that often anyway. So I'll brush my hair and then I'll brush him. But I'm just sitting there and I'm brushing. Yeah, I'm brushing in the right direction. Trying to look. I'm just sitting there brushing my fur, my fluff, my wool. And most of this, like I said, is nylon or nylon mixed with merino, which this one has merino in it. I don't think there's any merino in this one. I think this one is nylon and silk. And it's not like real shiny, like slippery at all. Like it's not. It feels, oh, see, that's overspun right there. You see that? That's a whole coil. If I apply this with something, that coil will come out. There's a whole coil. It's not supposed to do that. Yeah, that needs to be unspun. That is real tight. That was real tight. There. I undid it. It's better. I just untwisted the other part. I was doing the nylon and I was doing the sari silk mixed in with it, and I was like, this would be a really good option for somebody who can't use wool. And the fact that I am able, it empowered me that I am able to spin a high-end spun yarn that people who can't use wool could use. And then I started like thinking about my friend Sandy at Crochet, and I'm like, she can't use wool, and I literally could make her one of these. I would have to buy more wool. She likes jewel tone colors, and I don't have enough of the nylon to make her one. But I was like, in the future, like I could totally make her one, and she could use that. And then I used that for inspiration to keep going when I was spinning, because the power went out and it was dark and I could not see what I was doing and it was really hot. And I'm like, oh, I don't want anything to touch me, let alone wool or, well, nylon, but yarn, like, ugh. And then I use that. I do that often. Like I think of other people and I use that to want to do things, because if I'm just thinking about myself, I'm like, whatever. And whatever. When I think about somebody else that I care about, or that's my friend, or that's someone that I love truly and deeply, I'm like, I push beyond those boundaries of myself because I love them, because I am a giver and not a taker at all. And so I was pushing. I was like, yeah, like I could do something. See, this is really, really thick thin right here. I could do something for people who can't use wool, and that made me excited, and I pushed through. Because I mean, wool is beautiful, but nylon is gorgeous. I mean, that worked out way better than I thought it would. It did stick on itself a lot though. And then when there were parts where the sari silk was, I had a really hard time drafting it so where it didn't just fall apart. But that's all a learning curve. This is not the most beautiful yarn, but it will make something. I mean, this isn't either. This is very, very thick thin, and it's gorgeous. It's stunning. So with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go have a conversation with my daughter. I'm gonna probably edit and upload a few things, and then I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.